Kickstart Ventures, and welcome to the 140th Read the Fridge. And we're getting the top takeaways from our attendees. So come on, let's dive in. So the question is, what's the biggest opportunity or challenge you see in building a more open and connected data ecosystem in Southeast Asia?
Okay, fantastic. Well, look, I think the opportunity is huge for Southeast Asia. That's why people like me, who are from the UK, are in this region to try and build connections with what we think is going to be, a dominant force in the world economy. I think we know some of the statistics point towards Southeast Asia as an ecosystem being as large an economy as the EU by 2030 and growing at the moment something like 20% a year. So the opportunity is present now. I think to make the most of that, my advice would be, as it is when I speak to governments in the region, to focus on your existing strengths in software, for example, in the Philippines, in places like Thailand, on AI and good use of data analytics. But importantly, looking across the whole region, there's a huge piece to be done, I think, on connectivity. And Southeast Asia is heading in the right direction. So ASEAN, I know, is working on the Digital Economy Framework Agreement, looking at how e-commerce can be done more smoothly between Southeast Asian economies, how talent can move between the Philippines and Thailand and Malaysia and Singapore. And I think if you get those building blocks in the right places, then this region's going to grow rapidly and overtake the EU. I wouldn't say that lightly, but I think the future's bright.
So you have to understand that businesses in Asia or Southeast Asia are built primarily on trust, right? And relationships. So I think it's less about creating an ecosystem of data, but more of an ecosystem of partners, people trusting each other, and relationships. Because once you have the relationships between businesses sorted out and them trusting each other, then the data will just follow. So focus on the ecosystem of partners and trust first, and the rest will follow.
One of the biggest opportunities would be easier access to goods and services for consumers. So right now, you have to do like if you go to the bank, you want to open a bank account, it's still very complicated, or even as a business, doing business. I think if you had a more open network, it would just make things more streamlined, easier, have less requirements to deal with, and it would just ultimately be quicker and easier to get things done.
Hope you enjoyed, and see you at the next Read the Fridge.